Namaste. Welcome to the beginning of another live Sangha. I'm grateful to be here, even though I'm feeling sleepy. Probably going to have a little shorter of a live stream today. Nonetheless, I trust you are feeling as well as you can be in this moment, and I hope to be your humble servant today. And if I'm not, you can hold me accountable to that. I'd like to start with an invocation, or first an intention. May we come together as fellow students of life to uplift each other, relate in one another's experiences, share positive sentiments, and uplift each other. May we come together regardless of our background, identity, orientation, belief system, ethnicity, etc. Hello, dear Leon. It's virtual hug time. Aw, yeah. Welcome, dear Devil Eyes. Namaskar, dear Dancing Aurora Borealis. I'd also like to start with an invocation. This one comes from the Taittiriya and Katha Upanishads, two ancient Sanskrit texts. It's a Shanti mantra, a peace prayer, which goes something like this. Sahana vavatu, sahana bhunaktu, sahaviryam karva vahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvisha vahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. May the Divine protect us both together. May the Divine nourish us both together. May our studies be vigorous and effective, and may we not mutually dispute or hate any. Om. May there be peace in us. May there be peace in our environment, and may there be peace in the forces that act on us. Dear Muji, you ask, do I like One Piece? I don't think I've ever watched it actually, but if I remember correctly, that's the anime about... Wait. No, am I mixing up One Piece with One Punch Man? Or is that the same show? One Punch Man is the guy that can win any fight with one punch. It's about a rubber pirate. Well, I'm unfamiliar. Anyway. Welcome, dear Story Escape. Hello, dear Brave Bella. Hello, dear Painted Lady. Nice to have you here again. Yeah. That is One Piece? Oh. Maybe I'm not getting things mixed up. Welcome, dear Sherry Ann. I've been doing really well. Thank you for asking, dear Painted Lady. How are you? While you answer that, I'm going to put the cover of the book that we'll be reading from up, in case those who join while we are reading are wondering what we are reading. Today for our agenda, we shall be reading from the 8th chapter of the 4th act of The Journey Home. Then we'll do some Q&A. I'll have a question of the day, and then an intermission of some poetry reading of Rumi, and then we'll end with a mantra meditation. Welcome, dear Mars. Hello, Mr. No One. You're a really good Painted Lady. I'm happy to hear that. Life has been getting better. Oh, I'm glad. Is the live lagging a lot, or is it just you, asks Brave Bella? It's a good question. Hello, dear Jack. Hello, Sarah. Thank you for sharing peace and tranquility. Hello, dearest G. I'm so far away, I can zoom in. There. Now I'm closer. Hello, dear Jocelyn. welcome, dear Crossfires. Just Bella, no leg there, shares Leon. Dancing Aurora Borealis confirms. Well, I pray that your connection is more stable. Know that if you feel connected with me, then it doesn't matter how many bars of Wi-Fi you have. It's how many bars of what's in the heart. Thank you, dear Painted Lady, for your heart meme. Harihi Om Tat Sat. And Ubiquidad, thank you for your heart meme. Radhe Radhe. Hello, dear Steve. And welcome. Oh, no name again. Hello, dear Angel. Brave Bella, you share. You think you usually join after I read this book. What's it about? It's well, I've got it upside down for a start. It's an autobiography of an American Swami. It's an American who started off as a teenager at the beginning of the book, and through a couple years of backpacking and hitchhiking through Europe, the Middle East, ended up in India on a spiritual journey, and has been up into the Himalayas and down into the subcontinent, all around now, learning from many different teachers. And he's currently in a very holy place called Vrindavana, the forests of Krishna. Hello, dear Wanda. I'm doing well, thank you, dear Angel. I trust you are well. That makes sense, dear. Oh no. Welcome and thank you, dear Tattvamasi, for your quartet of roses. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. So let's continue where we left off, shall we? Let's begin the 8th chapter of the 4th act of the journey home. May this reading relax your mind and awaken your heart. A pack of huge, angry monkeys, growling and shrieking, surrounded a recently born calf who trembled with helpless, weeping eyes. She mooed for her mother. While walking through the village, I happened to come upon the scene. As I searched for a suitable stick to help, the mother cow released a powerful cry and frantically galloped to the site. With her horns and her fearless love, she scattered the monkeys away. Now, with eyes glazed by affection, the cow tenderly licked her baby until the calf was pacified enough to suck milk from her udder. While I observed the scene, I recalled Lord Chaitanya's teaching that we should chant God's name in a humble state of mind, like a baby calling out for its mother. Coming from a background where humility was often taken to be a weakness, I seriously questioned what real humility is and how it works, not knowing that I was about to come upon an unforgettable lesson on the subject. One day, Shripad Baba led Asim and I to an ancient temple. Looking inside, we saw a cavernous hall of red stone with a towering ceiling. The temple had been abandoned long ago. In the semi-darkness, monkeys were sleeping, and huge black bats hung upside down from the border of a dome high above, stains of their excrement spotting the slab floor. We walked past the temple, moving along a crumbling footpath that abruptly came to an end. Bordering the footpath was an open sewage canal about 2 feet wide. Shripad Baba prompted us, laughing. "Come on, I want to show you a very special temple." We stepped onto a single rock used as a bridge to cross the moat. Once on the other side, we found ourselves in a quaint home where children jumped and played while the mother squatted on the floor, cooking over a small fire. What kind of temple could this be? I wondered. To my surprise, in a common closet, I beheld an incredible sight. An altar enthroning deities of Radha and Krishna. They stood about 2 feet high, Krishna of black stone and Radha of shining bell metal. They looked ancient. Oddly, the family seemed indifferent to the radiant deities gracing their home. But as we drew closer, we noticed an old man in a torn cloth fanning the deities of the Lord. His eyes filled with tears of devotion. A small, thin man in his 70s, he had soft eyes. His head and face were shaved, and he looked incredibly frail. Hurrying out of the closet, he bowed to the feet of each of his guests. On his knees he welcomed us again and again, with tears of gratitude. "I am your obedient servant," he faltered. "Please bless me." He gestured toward the deities in the closet. "Please meet Radha and Krishna. Krishna called you here today because you are his dear friends. But as for me, I am only a tiny servant. My only fortune is to serve. Please allow me to serve you." This was my first encounter with Ghanashyam. As Shripad Baba told him how he had traveled so far to reach Vrindavana, Ghanashyam thrilled with wonder. "Krishna has called you to cross oceans and continents from a faraway land," Ghanashyam said. "He has been waiting so long for you. And now you have come." His voice cracked. "Yes, now you have come." Ghanashyam's small, aged face looked so gentle and frail. His small, misty eyes, rounded nose, thin lips, and delicate wrinkles gave him an expression of permanent melancholy. The tone of his soft voice echoed with the same feeling. But underneath it, his heart and soul overflowed with such ecstatic love that it filled the lives of whoever came near him. Seeing us standing before his deities, Ghanashyam was overwhelmed with joy. I began to spend more time with this devoted man. Every morning at 9, I was drawn down to that shambled footpath to this closet room temple. I found his company irresistible. Whenever I arrived, he extended the same affectionate greeting, "I am your obedient servant." And he meant it. He gave everything without expectation of anything, and loved doing so. I longed for this quality in myself. One morning, as Ghanashyam and I sat alone, I asked him how he first came to Vrindavan. He bowed his head. "My story is of no importance," he said, then gazed up in wonder. "But Krishna's mercy upon a sinner is worth hearing." Softly he began to tell me how he was raised in an affluent family. "When I was a young man, my family made pilgrimage to Vrindavan. It was here that the net of the Lord's grace captured my heart. I had no power to go away." As he narrated his story, Ghanashyam shrunk in meekness. He told of how his family was aghast by his resolve to give up a promising career and stay in Vrindavan. "They threatened to cut me off from our wealth, but I was unmoved. Krishna had stolen my heart," he said. Sleeping on the ground and daily begging for dry bread from the homes of the Vrajabasis, he never once hankered after his former wealth. Instead, he said, "I felt grateful to serve Krishna in his sweet home." Ghanashyam's dark eyes moved about like a timid child. For a long time my heart yearned to worship a deity. Then came a day I will not ever forget. While sitting under a tree in a nearby garden, I etched with my finger the name Shri Radha in the dusty ground. The whole of that day, I worshipped the impression of her written name in the soft dust with flowers, songs, and prayers. Finally, at sunset, I erased Radha's name with my hand. Ghanashyam fell silent, gazing at his beloved deities. He struggled visibly to restrain his emotions, and after a long pause, resumed his story. While rubbing the ground, I saw something gold where her name had been. I was intrigued. What is this? I thought. Let me come back when no one is around. Early the next morning, I dug with my hands in that spot where Radha had been present in her holy name. Ghanashyam now lost the battle he'd been waging to restrain his feelings. Tears streamed down his cheeks as he related, in a trembling voice, the tale of his love. That golden object my fingers had been led to was the top of the head of my Radha. Her deity appeared to me from the earth, and standing beside her there, underground, was a black deity of Lord Krishna. At his base was written his name, Gopi Jana Vallabha, the beloved of the cowherd girls. His high voice cracked, but I had nothing. What could I possibly do for them? Ghanashyam gazed lovingly toward his deities and murmured, I do not know why they did so, but they put themselves under my care. So I have cared for them day and night. In the beginning, passers-by would donate some food for me to offer. For a long time I worshipped them under a tree. Then, the forefathers of this family, feeling sympathy at seeing Radha Gopijana Vallabha without a home, offered their closet as a shelter. I've worshipped them here for over 50 years. As the weeks passed, I gained much inspiration studying the character of Ghanashyam. I am your obedient, he would say, while trying to give me everything he had. Together we sang for Gopi Jana Vallabha, or fanned them with peacock feather fans. Every day he insisted that I eat the Lord's prasadam, the sanctified food. 3 vraja rotis, or simple breads. Vraja rotis are the most common food for the people of Vrindavan. Although from an ordinary perspective, a vraja roti is nothing but a dry, flat piece of coarse, unleavened bread, for those with faith, it is a priceless blessing. Grown in the soil of Vrindavan and cooked and offered to Krishna by the hands of a devotee, the vraja roti is considered a holy sacrament. With gratitude, I ate the vraja rotis of Ghanashyam. One afternoon, while bathing in the river, I happened to see a familiar sadhu. Expecting to receive the customary blessings this Baba always offered, I was blindsided by the harsh reprimand he served me instead. Because of you, he shouted from the riverbank, Ghanashyam is starving. I don't understand, I cried out. He glared at me. A Vrajabasi brings him 3 rotis every day. That is his only food, and every day you eat all of it. How selfish. What? I gasped while climbing up the riverbank. This cannot be. Please believe me. I never knew. The next day, Ghanashyam sat me down on the floor of his simple dwelling and lovingly served me the vraja rotis. I pushed the leaf plate away. I am not hungry today, and will not eat. Hearing my words, Ghanashyam was stricken with sorrow. You must eat. This is Gopi Jana Vallabha's food. He saved it only for you. I refused. With joined palms trembling, he pleaded, It is because of my sins that you will not accept my service? Please, eat my rotis. My heart was breaking. I pleaded with him, Ghanashyam, you are starving because I'm eating all of your rotis. I can get rotis anywhere, but you never leave here." "But I have so many rotis," Ghanashyam insisted. "There is no shortage." Again, he set the plate down in front of me. "Please, I beg you to eat and enjoy." Again I pushed it away. "If you have more rotis, show them to me." "No need, no need." He spoke quietly, a high-pitched voice that shook with desperation. "I refuse to accept your only food until you show me more." He raised his voice to meet my challenge. "No need, no need. They are in that room." I jumped up and searched the room, but found nothing in it. "Ghanashyam, there are no rotis here. You have been starving because of me. Please, please, you eat these rotis." Ghanashyam's eyes filled with tears as he revealed his precious heart. "You are Gopi Jana Vallabha's friend, but I am only the servant of his servants. My only happiness in life is serving devotees. I beg you to enjoy these rotis." With palms folded in prayer, he pleaded, "I beg you, do not deprive me of the single thing I live for." I cried on witnessing his selfless love. For the pleasure of dear Ghanashyam, I ate all his rotis. The next day I came 2 hours later than usual, assuming he would have eaten his rotis by then. Ghanashyam rejoiced. "Krishna Das, Ratin Krishna Das, you have finally come. Gopi Jana Vallabha has been waiting for you." I could not believe what I saw. The rotis were still on the altar. Ghanashyam explained, "My Lord will not honor my offering until he has the company of a friend. Krishna has saved these rotis only for you." With these words, he placed all the rotis before me to eat. "Only when you eat will Sri Radha accept me as her servant." Again, I was defeated. One day, a well-wisher presented Ghanashyam with new clothes. He shyly looked away from them and poured out his heart. "This body only accepts the worn remnants from devotees." Ghanashyam only wore used cloth previously worn by a sadhu. He considered it priceless. Another night I found Ghanashyam sitting alone singing beautiful ragas and playing a small harmonium. Absorbed in devotion, he was unaware I had entered the room. Although I could not understand the language of the song, the sweetness of his devotion revealed everything. Sometimes his voice lilted with joy. At other times it mourned in feelings of separation from his beloved. I had been told that in his youth he was a court musician in the palace of a king. He was so absorbed in his singing that an hour passed before he noticed my arrival. Discovering me, he radiated with joy. "Krishna Das, you have come!" He asked if I would help him to put his deities in a bed for the night. For 50 years he had done this every night, but now in his old age he was too weak to lift them. I felt honored to oblige. As I was departing, he inquired, "Krishna Das, where will you rest tonight?" "On the bank of the Yamuna, where I rest every night." He held my hand and stroked my head like a worried father. "But it is freezing in the winter. You must sleep here tonight." "But Ghanashyam, I sleep there every night." "Tonight you sleep here, please." He slept on the floor of a narrow hallway outside the closet. The family used it as a throughway in the house, stepping around him. As I lay on the floor, Ghanashyam placed his only blanket on me. I could not allow this to happen. Snatching up the threadbare blanket, I handed it back to him. "This is your blanket. You must use it." "No need, no need." He sighed in a high voice, refusing to take the blanket. "You are an old man, and I am young. You must use it." I again handed him the blanket, but he jumped back. "No need, no need." An argument ensued. When he insisted, I threatened to return to the riverbank. I dropped the blanket and stormed toward the door. No need, no need. He picked up the blanket. I will use the blanket. So I lay down beside him, curled up to keep warm on that cold winter night, and fell asleep. Sometime later I awoke, wondering why I was so warm. I looked over at Ghanashyam, who was lying on the floor, trembling from the cold like a leaf in a windstorm. There was no blanket on him. I realized that he silently placed it over me after I fell asleep. Quietly, I covered him with it. As soon as the blanket touched him, he leapt up and shouted, "No need, no need. You are Krishna's friend. You must enjoy good sleep." "Then I will go to the Yamuna," I cried out, while again storming to the door. Again, he agreed to accept the threadbare blanket, but later in the night I awoke feeling nice and warm. There was my dear Ghanashyam, his frail old body violently shivering in the cold. I tried again to place the blanket upon him. "No need, no need." Ghanashyam loved to serve in everyone he met. In 50 years, he never left the area around that small temple except to bring water to his Lord. Indeed, he could not dream of leaving his deities to whose service he dedicated his life and soul. Early one morning, while on my way from the river, I was surprised to see the aged form of Ghanashyam in a lonesome alleyway. Stumbling and falling, I rushed to help him. With great pains, he struggled to carry a bucket of water that he had collected from the Yamuna to bathe his deities. After every few steps, he stood limp in exhaustion. "Ghanashyam, please allow me to carry the bucket." With a stern glance, he replied, "No need, no need." I could not bear to see him toil in this way. "Please, please, I am young. With no difficulty, I will have it at your temple in 5 minutes. You are very old and weak. It will take you half an hour. Please, let me take it." That innocent smile of little old Ghanashyam radiated from his face as he pleaded, "You are Gopijana Vallabha's young friend. You should enjoy. I am his old servant. My life is to serve. You go now and enjoy Vrindavan. That will make me happy." His humility simultaneously melted my heart and worried my mind. "Please, I will be most happy to carry your bucket." I gripped the handle of the bucket and pulled. Ghanashyam's entire body tensed like a tree. Freezing with a determination, he grasped that handle with all of his strength. He clenched it as a man helplessly hanging from a cliff hangs to the rope that separates him from death. His eyes searched mine in desperation. "I am a poor old man. My only wealth is my service." His eyes grew red and swelled with tears. "If you take away my service to the Lord, you will take away my life. Please allow me to live. Please." My heart sank. What else could I do? I gave him his life back and his bucket. But when he noted my anxiety for him, he consented to our carrying it together, side by side, asking me every minute if I was all right. One night, Ghanashyam suggested that I visit Varsana, a nearby village that was the home of Radha. He softly cried out, "Krishna Das, your life will never be the same after you feel the atmosphere of Varsana." Seeing my enthusiasm, he shyly added, "When you go, please tell Shri Radha that her tiny servant Ghanashyam wishes to see her." My heart was deeply affected by this little old man who lived in obscurity. He was not a learned scholar, a famous guru, or a mystic yogi, but he was a true saint. His humility was an expression of his love for God. At one time I had thought, like many in the West, that humility was an act of self-effacement, a weakness that revealed a lack of self-confidence or self-care, even a negative obsession that could lead to a sense of inferiority or depression. But I was discovering, in the company of people like Ghanashyam, that true humility was the opposite of that, for it connects us to an inexhaustible power beyond our own, the power of grace. True humility is a universal pride in the greatness of God and a genuine appreciation for the virtues of others. Real humility, I was finding, did not mean I ought to be cowardly and shrink from challenges, but propelled me to strive with all my resources to overcome challenges with integrity, respect, love, and gratitude, to be as much as possible an instrument of the divine. In real humility, there is a deeper principle than our sad need to feel superior to others. That higher principle prevents us from being arrogant and condescending toward those we feel are inferior. It protects us from being envious towards those who are more accomplished. When one is humble, one feels grateful and gives credit to the Lord and all those who have ever offered help. With a humble heart, one can easily admit mistakes and open one's heart to learn. Becoming humble is not the act of killing the ego, but of liberating the real ego, which is eternally vibrant with love for God and others. The most profound mystery I was finding is that to the degree one possesses these exalted characteristics, they feel themselves to be very small, a part of God and the servant of all. To selflessly serve others was Ghanashyam's heart's only joy. Ghanashyam Baba was one of the happiest and wealthiest men I had ever met, a simple man who simply loved God. Thank you for listening. I think that was my favorite chapter. I'd love to know what you think. We shall begin a new chapter next time, the 9th chapter of the 4th act, and there's some fun pictures to start this chapter. I'll show you those next time. Well, that concludes our listening portion of our Sangha, Shravana. Now we transition into Manana, and we can explore whatever is in our hearts and minds. Welcome everyone that joined while we were reading too. Absolutely incredible. I feel the same way, Carrie Lou. I'm glad you loved that. Oh no. Hello, dear Michelle. I'm feeling well. Very uplifted. Thank you. I wanted to thank those who sent a gift whilst we read too. Dear Lukey, thank you for your pair of rosas. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. You loved it, Nicole? Aw, how amazing it is to spend time with a being like him, right? Oh, hello, dear Dalkinton. Thank you, Carrie Lou, for your heart me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I am extra peaceful tonight. Oh, I'm happy to hear that, dear Sazrar. Thank you, Sazrar, for the heart me you sent. Radhe Krishna, Radhe Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Shyama, Radhe Shyama, Shyama Shyama, Radhe Radhe. And dear brave Bella, thank you for your trio of roses. Om Namo Bhagavate Dakshinamurtaye Mahyam Medham Prajñam Prayatsha Swaha. Now I have a question of the day for you all. In the spirit of our reading today, I ask, why is humility so freeing? What is it specifically about humility that is liberating rather than imprisoning? No expectations. That is so true, dear Talia. Without expectations, we can truly be humble. I wish to be able to refract that love, dear Carrie Lou, back into a rainbow of colors to deliver a unique flavor to each one of you. Dear Nicole, you share that it takes away pretense. Yeah. I'll continue share, not so caught up in our self-centeredness. Indeed. Self-centeredness can be very binding. Being limitless. Oh, I love that, Gary Lou. Crossfires, you share, you had to go to court today for a ticket, and he dropped it though. Victory! That sounds like a big win for you, dear Crossfires. Thank you for the cap, the Tejum. Mani Padme Hum. Oh, that's perfectly acceptable, dear Angel. Yeah, I always love the answers with everyone's gracious sharing. Dear Cheese System, you share because it removes negative energies. Absolutely, yes. Gary Lou, you share loving without limits creates unconditional love. Dadastu. Dearest Donsuela, you shared allows space for others to be themselves and for our expectations of ourselves to not be so high. You're so right. Dear Yusra, you ask if I can please explain what I'm talking about. Humility means when we empty our heart of judgment and we invite grace. Humility means seeing ourselves as part of something unlimited. We are a reflection of the infinite, and therefore our duty is to serve the whole. That is humility. Oh no, you share living authentically and letting go of insecurities. That is so freeing. Hello, dear Marcy. You share, today's Sangha snack is mushroom and chickpea pasta with cheesy bread and a side of rice. That sounds delicious. I am very humbled by your words, dear Simon. May I only be a mirror to reflect that in you. Shakira, you shared, to be cringe is to be free. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm grateful to have you here, dear Carrie Lou. It's a good question, dear colorblind. Are you able to be present-minded 100% of the time you're awake? Imagine an asymptote getting nearer and nearer to the 100th percentile. Every day, you can strive for one more decimal digit of precision. Get your significant figures higher and higher. Dear brave Bella, you share, you think it helps people feel welcome with you because you're being vulnerable in a way. Yeah, that is an added benefit. You are very right. Thank you, dear Shakira, for your heart meme. Om Bhurbhuvaswa Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. Your Sangha snack is Fruit Loop shares crossfires. Perfect. I imagine each Fruit Loop to be like a little colorful bagel. Hello, dear Carl Sagan. Dear Dancing Aurora Borealis, you share. Then you can drop all masks and be more authentic and peaceful. That sounds very freeing. Yusra, you share, I sound like a kind-hearted person. I pray that my words reflect my heart. May I grow in kind-heartedness every day. Crossfires, you share that humility is kind of what you experienced today in court for a ticket you did not deserve to get. You had to be humble nevertheless. I think humility pays off in that aspect too. Yeah. That's a good example from your life today. Marcy, you share that you think humility balances hubris. And you define hubris as defiance/arrogance of the gods is not being God. Ah, what a brilliant identity. How can you be God if you are defiant of God? Hello, dear Taco. Hello, dear Squad. Hello, dear Ghialine. Dear Nicole, you ask, do I believe someone can take your destiny? Take your destiny. That's an interesting idea. How? Are they going to climb into your subtle body and take a carbon copy of the impressions of all the actions that you have had, and then remove their own impressions and impress that back into their own consciousness? That'd be very impressive. That means they could take all your karma away. Because your destiny is decided by your karma, your actions. The actions that you choose shape the path forward for you. For someone to take your destiny, they'd have to take your karmas. You should let them. Yeah. Please take my karmas. Yeah. Is my eyebrow okay? It looks like it got cut. Shares Brave Bella. Oh, that's the first time I'm hearing it. Where? Here? I think those are pimples. Thank you, dear Becca. Thank you for your heart meter, Danny. Om Kang Jagnavyai Nama. Hello, dear nobody. Ganga can do that. It's beautiful, Nicole. Ganga can do anything. I appreciate your care, dear Brave Bella. Hello, dear Yana. Dear Danny, you share that humility allows you to appreciate that everyone is their own universe and life going on, and that when people are mean, it's not that deep on your part. It's about their life. That is incredibly humble indeed. Thank you. I just noticed the video we're watching, I just noticed the background music we're listening to has some AI generated videos. These are really relaxing. I gotta show you these. Oh, to be that monk sitting near the shrine of the Buddha by a waterfall. Oh, to be that monk sitting in front of a fire on a stream of cherry blossoms. Ah, that's nice. I imagine that in the not so distant future, we will have a generation of video creating artificial intelligence that can do it live in virtual reality. Whatever you wish to be in, you say that as a prompt or type it in, or maybe it even reads your mind and then it creates that for you. That'd be a nice meditation, I think. Like a holodeck in Star Trek. Yeah, we're getting pretty close to that. I appreciate your care, dear Michelle. I could use a little more sleep. I've been trying to wake up earlier, and I did have a difficult time sleeping last night. So I think I might end the live a little earlier tonight so I can actually go to sleep. However, I'm happy to be here. I am in your service. That video would make a dope computer background. I agree, Brave Bella. Dear Nicole, you share you've been in a spiritual battle for years, and you feel someone took your divine spark, your Holy Spirit. I have good news. They didn't. No one can take your spirit. Spirit is you. If they took you, they'd take you with them. And you'd be like, where am I going? What's my new surroundings? Who are you? You'd be with them. The Holy Spirit is your consciousness, your awareness. You cannot be without that. Thankfully. That is your sovereignty. Not even God can take that from you. Fun fact, this is true. They say God is omniscient, knows everything. That's true, but there's a caveat. The caveat is that the part of God that you are, the rest of God cannot change. And that is your spirit, your consciousness, your awareness that cannot go anywhere. Adding to that, I will say that if you are in a spiritual battle, that doesn't sound very spiritual, because battles aren't spiritual. Love, harmony, all that good jazz is spiritual. If you're struggling with your mental health, that's something else. And I recommend making sure that you explore all of your options. If therapy works for you, that's wonderful. It's never a sign of weakness to go get help in that aspect. It is always an act of courage, because it takes a lot of courage to go and say, today is the day that I'm going to get better in that regard. But yeah, there's no such thing as spiritual battles, because fighting is not the nature of spirit. Love is the nature of spirit. And with that love, you can conquer all other battles. Battles of the mind, battles of the body. But your spirit has always been transcendental to these things. Even when the body is in pain, even in the darkest nights of our mind, the soul is forever luminous and free from the sufferings that affect us. So fear not. Your spirit is safe and sound, as it always is. Take care of your body and your mind with it. Thank you, Yana, for your heart meme. Om Brahm Bhairvaya Namo Namah. Dear Samara, thank you for your hanging light. Om Aim Saraswatyai Namah. Dear dancing aurora borealis, thank you for your swan. Om Ganganapataye Namah. You're very welcome, dear Nicole. Thank you, dear Michelle. And thank you, Ono. Oh, I'm happy to be here for you, dear dancing aurora borealis. Hello, dear Melissa. I am well. And hello, Thoth. Dear Yusra, you ask, do I believe in a particular religion, or do I have my own spiritual beliefs? I don't know, I'm just happy to be here. Dear Sonder, you ask, how can you tell if a connection online is true? Can it be true? Almost everything points that way. Indeed, this digital age makes things a lot more nuanced than an age in which you'd have to meet in person. It is as true as the person presents themselves true. That is to say, if how they present themselves digitally is an authentic expression of who they are, and you are connected to that, then you can be assured. Absolutely. I trust in your intuition and your ability to pick up on those things. Even if your bodies are apart by many miles, your hearts can be closer than even the distance between a proton and a fellow neutron in the nucleus of an atom. Nay, closer than even the quark and the other quarks of the hadrons of the nucleus. Nay, they can be closer than even a Planck length and another Planck length. Dear Taco, you share your biggest question is, when are we getting married? You and I? I'm afraid at this moment my heart is taken. Maybe in a different world cycle. And thank you, dear Sonder, for your heart meme. Om Shri Ghaneshaya Namah. By spirituality, well, that's part of it, dear Aurora. But also I do have a lover in the form of a human being. One that I am eternally grateful for. I like how Rhiannon gave an answer in the past tense. November 3rd, 1822. We did that already. Past life. Dear Tatvamasi, you share. You're not the doer, and Brahman is nirguna. And how come our tendencies and the pull towards it? If you're not the doer, and Brahman is nirguna, then how come our tendencies and the pull towards it? You've answered your own question. The pull towards it doesn't come from you, because you're not the doer. The pull comes from the mind and the body, which Nirguna Brahman is not. The tendencies are part of Pravrtti, part of the material nature. The desire does not come from you. Yeah. However, zooming out even further, this whole Prakriti is the Saguna Brahman, which has emanated from Nirguna Brahman. And all of the tendencies are there in a potential state in the Nirguna Brahman for the ultimate purpose of Leela. So that as the experience of enlightenment illuminates, all that funny business that's been happening to the body and mind becomes the greatest joke there's ever been. That all the struggle that's ever been associated with you was never a struggle at all. Everything difficult you ever went through in this body and every other body is something to laugh about in the end. It's like trying to change the mind of the person on the movie screen. It's like every time you watch the movie, the person makes the same mistakes, but you scream at the movie screen, "Don't press the red button! Don't press the red button!" And every time the person on the movie screen presses the red button and gets into trouble. Until one day, you realize you're not the person on the movie screen. That it wasn't even you pushing the red button. And now every time the red button gets pushed, you laugh instead of cry. Hello, dear Apostolos. Does detaching lead to enlightenment? Asks Saint Aisha. Well, we do have to be very careful with the word detachment, because it can signal a sense of aversion or apathy. I think a nice word is non-attachment. Neither attachment nor detachment, but non-attachment. Non-attachment doesn't take you away. It doesn't take you towards. It's just being exactly where you are. And whatever comes your way, you deal with it. You still lead a very involved life, but you're no longer chasing after things in the world. Nor are you trying to escape the world. You're something in the middle of chasing and running away. You are like an elemental bender, where life just comes to you and goes away from you, all at the same time, and you are dancing in the middle of all of it. And everything is flowing around you, and you find a way to guide the elements so that it doesn't hit you. You don't drop anything, you're just kind of centered while the universe flows around you. Bells, you feel it's also part of the reason we feel shame and humiliation. It leads to laughter. I've had a good laugh after being humiliated, yes. That beautiful kind of humiliation where you feel like a silly goose. Well, I'm a silly goose, yeah. Can't help but laugh. Indeed, dear Aurora. Yeah. Consciousness has always existed. Just new forms come to channel that consciousness. I'm grateful to have you here, dear brave Bella. Thank you, Bug. What am I wearing today? Red burgundy sweater, yoga pants. Dear Ono, you ask, can the same be said for grief? Though it's a natural process, it's still painful. Imagine a kind of happiness that never leaves you. A kind of happiness that stays with you during grief, during pain, even during fear. Imagine a kind of happiness that's your best friend, always side by side. A friend that's so humble and never changes anything about you. Whatever you're going through, they just hold space for you. It is that kind of happiness that we have to discover is the essence of our true self. The grief does not disappear. The sadness does not disappear. The fear does not disappear. It all remains, but suspended in a pool of happiness. You don't have to imagine, because it's always been that way. We just haven't recognized it. It's hiding in plain sight. In fact, you are feeling that kind of happiness right now. You have always felt it. That's the very nature of it. That's okay, dear Michelle. Good night. I love that, Marshall. Attached to nothing, connected to everything. Hello, dear Evilise. Thank you for being here. Lindsay, you ask, if animals had a spiritual message for humans, what do I think it would be? Well, we are an animal, aren't we? But if other animals, besides humans, had a spiritual message for us, it would be, hang out in nature for a while. You spend so much time inside your nest, inside your beehive. But the bees, they spend so much of their day in the flowers, in bushes, buzzing around. And then when they go inside, they can enjoy the honey. How do you expect to have that sweetness if you don't go outside to collect the pollen, be in nature, discover the nectar that's hidden in every flower, bush, tree, blade of grass, rock, stream, mountain, hill, cloud? Hello, dear Sarah. Hello, dear Spinudha. You DM'd me about advice. You want to know about meditation? Where did you DM me, dear Spinudha? Hello, dear Stevie G. Good night, dear Jack. Hello, dear G-Nixus. I'm chill because I spent so much of my life not being chill, and it never suited me anyway. Now I know there's no other way to be, but just abiding in my nature. You DM'd me on TikTok, dear Spinudha. Unfortunately, I don't accept DMs on TikTok, but if you message me on any other platform, like Instagram, WhatsApp, or Telegram, or even you can send me an email, I will definitely read it. But yes, meditation can be very helpful in depression and anxiety. And even modern medical science is recognizing that. When I was depressed and anxious, my doctor recommended that. I don't think I actually ever went through with it until I kind of discovered it for myself. And then when I did, I realized how incredibly powerful it is. It's no substitute for therapy, or perhaps an intervention of some kind of medication, but it's such a complement to everything else you're doing. My only caveat would be, if you are depressed or anxious, I would recommend types of meditation that are not about trying to enter some void or nothingness or non-existence, which seems to be the most common kind of meditation as we begin to learn about the various kinds in the West. We somehow have this stage that so many of us go through where meditation in our minds is trying to stop thinking or become nothing. But there are so many different kinds of meditation. That type of meditation is called Nirvikalpa Samadhi. And it is like the most advanced kind of meditation, and most people are starting with that kind. And if you start with that kind, you will just give yourself anxiety. That's what I did. As I was like, I want to try meditating. Alright, I'll try a non-dual meditation about entering nothingness, that you are not the body, you are not the mind, this whole world is but a dream. And it just gave me an existential crisis. So So I don't recommend that if you are struggling with anxiety or depression. If you're in a good state of mind, then entering into that kind of nirvikalpa samadhi is indeed a beautiful and profound experience. But it requires a good headspace. I mean, think about it. To comprehend the idea that you are nothingness definitely requires a very healthy relationship with your mind. Otherwise, as you can already imagine where that could lead, it's going to be very difficult. And I went through that, hopefully so that you don't have to. I am telling you this, that I recommend meditating on something really simple and lovely, like one of those meditations where you imagine that you're walking through a forest, a meditation of flowers and trees, and there's a walkway that goes down the side of a waterfall, and you can feel the mist hit your face, and you enter this mossy garden, and you lay down by the flowers, that sort of thing. Or you do a meditation while you're actually walking meditation, where you just focus on your breath while you're observing mindfully your thoughts and the world around you. Or you can do a meditation where you pick a form of the divine and you imagine having a play date with the divine. We did a guided meditation a few months ago where we met the Divine Mother in the forest, and then we were washing her feet, and then we were scrubbing her jewelry and putting the jewelry around this mother goddess of nature. That's a really nice meditation. That's called Savikalpa Samadhi, or it leads to Savikalpa Samadhi, an absorption in form. And Nirvikalpa Samadhi and Savikalpa Samadhi are actually equally potent on the spiritual path. It's not like you start off with one, and then one day you'll be ready for Nirvikalpa Samadhi. They're actually both up here, but this one is just so much more accessible. This one is for a particular type of person who wants a challenge, let's say. Someone who really wants to push themselves to experience one of the most rare experiences that you can have. But they're both equally blissful. It's said that Savikalpa Samadhi, you experience Premananda, the bliss of divine love. Nirvikalpa Samadhi, you experience Brahmananda, the bliss of the absolute. And they're both equally, infinitely blissful. It's the path of Pravrtti, or the path of Nivrtti. In conclusion, I recommend the path of Pravrtti for those struggling with their mental health. Thank you, dear Strawberry Chica, for your TikTok. Om Kring Kalikaye Namah. Dear Carrie Lou, thank you for your flowers. Om Maha. I gotta do the bija. Om Kamalir Maha Kalikaye Namah. And thank you, dear Dove Darker, for your heartbeat. Om Kali Maha Kali Kalike Parameshwari Sarvananda Kari Devi Narayani Namostute. Good night, Carrie Lou. And thank you, little Chica. Jack Loris, you're wondering if I could give you something to dream about, and you'll tell me if it happened. Maybe you can dream about finding a 4-leaf clover. Hello, dear Leah. You love taking your dog, or you love letting your dog take you for a walk. He goes everywhere. I love that. That's a great idea. You're very welcome, Tatwamasi. Is this Hindu? Asks Ari. It's anything. You don't have to be any kind of demographic to benefit from this. This is the Sanatana Dharma, the eternal path, open to everyone. The path of all paths. Yeah, those are nice, dear Strawberry Chica. Nice to see you, dear Staff. Yes. Oh, that's a great idea, Lost in Minnesota. We are listening to, dear Melissa, listen for 7 minutes to experience deep calm. Tibetan flute meditation for inner peace. Although I haven't heard a single flute this whole time. What instruments do I hear? I just hear bells and frequencies. If that's what a Tibetan flute sounds like, I'd really like to see what this instrument looks like. Lost in Minnesota, you ask, what led me on this path? And who or what has been the biggest influence? You're always on the path. It's just one day you look down and you go, oh, I'm on a path. And my biggest influence is all of the beautiful things I get to see on the way. Can I explain the path of Pravrtti? Absolutely, dear Stevie G. Pravrtti means literally with thought. Vritti is like thought, or flow of thought, or flow of your senses. Pra is a Sanskrit prefix meaning towards, or with. Pravrtti therefore means towards or with thoughts, or the flow of your senses. This is in contrary to Nivrtti. Ni is a prefix meaning going beyond. Nivrtti means going beyond thoughts or the flow of your senses. Most meditations, in my experience, are often Nivrtti, which is funny because I find Pravrtti to be much more accessible. Those that truly end up following the path of Nivrtti, rounded to a nearest percentile, is probably 0. It's not actually 0 because there's some rounding there, but I'd say only a fraction of a percent of the population end up actually following the path of Nivrtti, which is wonderful for the followers because it's so rare, and that's amazing. I mean, if you find success on that path, you truly are a sage, because that's 1 in a million, maybe less than that. Pravrtti is by far the most accessible spiritual path. That means that you're not trying to kill your ego. You're not trying to dissociate from your body or your mind. You're not trying to leave this world. You're not trying to remove any part of yourself. You're not trying to dissolve your karma. It's not about removing anything about you. That's the path of Nivrtti, is to becoming nobody. Realizing yourself to be nothing, nothingness itself. Merging with the absolute formless reality. Pravrtti is all about having a completely full human experience. You are worldly. You have friends. You have a job. You have a family. You enjoy life. You have pleasures. Your meditations don't take you away from anything. They bring you into the fullness of everything. They bring you into the ecstatic feeling of just breathing, of talking, of eating, of procreating. The path of Pravrtti is a path of unifying with everything, rather than becoming separate from everything. And we don't actually hear a lot about that path. It's the rare one you hear about, even though it's the path that 99.999% of people would benefit from. Sounds similar to Tantra. Tantra is a path that definitely takes use of Pravrtti, indeed. And they're equal. The Vedic scriptures describe both paths as equal. Thank you, dear Samra, for your woodland wonder. Om Namah Parashakdaye. Do I have any repeated dreams? Asked MJ. I don't think I have any repeated dreams exactly. There's always some difference, but there are repeated themes, like flying. I like that theme. I've done probably, I want to say 100, maybe not that many. I'm gonna lowball it, say 50 guided meditations on my YouTube channel now. They're at the end of our live streams, and then I clip them and upload them. Dear Ellers, you share you need a prayer to get this job tomorrow. You have a super important second interview. I will pray for you, dear Ellers. But remember that your worth is not defined by the outcomes of your actions. Your worth is defined by your willingness to persevere regardless of the outcome. And that is always within your control. That said, I will pray that you get accepted into a job that works best for you at this moment, at this time of your life. Dear Mojava Jane, thank you for your rose. Om Ram Brahmane Namah. Dear Om Tat Sat, you ask, which is superior for meditating on the name, Japa, or the form of the Lord, Rupa Dhyan? Why not do both? That must be superior. While chanting on the name, or while meditating on the name through japa, visualize the form of the Lord. Can you do that? That must be superior. Oh, that's beautiful, dear George. I'm honored to have you here. And so many wonderful souls that are complementary to you. Dear Chelsea, you ask, how can you learn unattachment? Start with small things. Maybe donate some of the clothing or other items that are no longer serving you to charity or some children's foundation or, a good cause. Maybe if you have friends that really like something in your house. Is there ever something that always catches the attention of your friend's eye when they're in your house or your room? Maybe the next time you're over, you can give that to them. I always see you. I always remember you compliment my lamp. I really want to give this lamp to you. And it would make me happy to do so, because I think you love this lamp more than I probably could. And whenever I go to your place, I'll get to see it too. So it's not like I won't see it again. It'll literally light up the room. And you are part of me. I'd love for you to have this. Hello, dear Ren Fox. Thank you, dear Emma. Oh, that is a very poetic thing to say, dear Ariana. Thank you. Hello, dear Diego from Argentina. Namaste. Dear Stevie G, you ask, is there a path that combines Pravrtti and Nivrtti? They both lead to the same place, and in fact they cross just as Ida and Pingala do along your spine. Yeah. Truly, it's only in the beginning that there exists such a distinction between Pravrtti and Nivrtti. They become one and the same. Then there is no distinction between nothing and everything. A kind of non-duality, so non-dual that it is unified with duality. A non-duality between the duality of non-duality and duality. Do I believe in prayer, dear Anne? In the beginning, I did not. But I did it anyway because it wasn't about belief. It was about getting my thoughts out. And realizing the true power of prayer, I cried. It was never about having someone else listen to you. It was having the deepest part of yourself listen to you as you express the very things that you hide from yourself. Put them out there into the air, in the universe. And when you stop hiding from yourself, God finds you. That is an incredible plan, dear Matthew. I believe in you. Thank you, dear Tom, for the septet of roses you sent. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Dear Renvox, thank you for your rose. Hare Krishna. Dear Plankton, you ask, do I believe in duality? Well, SpongeBob certainly does. But who's asking? Hello, dear Miso. Thanks for the reminder, dear G. Thank you, dear Tatwamasi, for your pair of roses. Om Mitraya Namah. Now, I would like for it to be time for another episode of my engine needs oil. Ruminations. Let's continue where we left off. It's whatever you want it to be, dear Ghost Zero. This poem is called Deliverance, written by the Persian Sufi mystic Rumi 800 years ago. Your anguish is seeking a way to attain me. Yesterday evening I heard your deep sighs, and I am able, without any delay, to give you access, to show you a way of passage, to deliver you from this whirlpool of time, that you might set your foot upon the treasure of union with I. But the sweetness and delight of the resting place are in proportion to the pain of the journey. Only then will you enjoy your native town and your kinsfolk, when you have suffered the anguish of exile. This poem's called Boil Nicely Now. That's what you say to your pot when the heat's turned up too high and the oil starts boiling and starts splattering. Boil nicely now. Look at the chickpeas in the pot, how they leap up when they feel the fire. While boiling, one of them rises to the top and cries, "Why are you setting this fire under? Did you buy me for this tumbling and torture?" The housewife keeps hitting it with a ladle. "No," she says, "boil nicely now, and don't leap away from the one who makes the fire. It's not because you are hateful to me that I boil you, but so that you might gain flavor and become nutritious and mingle with essential spirit. This affliction is not because you are despised. When you were green and fresh, you were watered in the garden. That watering was for the sake of this fire." And lastly, this poem is called The River. There is a word that I should define before I read it. The word is Khidr. Khidr is the immortal green man who appears as a guide to those who are worthy. Remember that. The immortal green man. Time is limited. The abundant water is flowing away. Drink before you fall to pieces. There is a famous conduit full of the water of life. Draw the water so that you may become fruitful. We are drinking the water of Khidr, from the river of the speech of the saints. Come, thirsty one, even if you don't see the water, as skillfully as a blind person, bring the jug to the river and dip it in. Next time we'll begin with the poem, The Water is Calling the Thirsty. Oh, I think he's right.
Drink me.
You hear that?
Please drink me.
Oh, well, as you wish. This has been another episode of Ruminations. If you want to share any insights or whatever might have spawned into your mind whilst reading, you are welcome to share. But now it's time to transition to our final segment of our Sangha. And that is Nididhyasana, dedicated to meditating. I hope to meditate with you on a simple mantra before we go. Radhe Radhe, dear Gregorji. Thank you, dear Matthew. Stevie G, you share, when I was rolling my R's like a car, your aunt said, "Who the are you listening to?" Well, your aunt is really not going to like our following mantra. Tonight we meditate upon the rolled R sound, as it serves as the bija for a deity known as Shikhandi. In the Kamika Agama, an ancient Dravidian text, there are seed sounds given for 50 different deities, I believe. If I can show you this document that I've put together, we have for the long root vowel, r, it is said that the sound itself is anjana, which is the color of collyrium black, dedicated to Shikhandi. I don't actually know much about Shikhandi, although I will tell you a relevant short story. It has the power of Jwara Nashanam, to destroy fevers. So it's a healing mantra, and we will be chanting with this tonight. Rum Shikhandine Namah. I've added some pronunciation pointers. For example, the O, the A, these are long vowels. Also, the R is a long vowel. We normally don't think of R as a vowel, but it is in Sanskrit. The M with a dot under it is a nasalization. The S with an accent over it is just your regular palatal sibilant, shown by the SH diagram in English. The KH is no mere accident. That H is not a silent letter. It's a breathy K. K, K, K. And for the N and D in Shikhandi, you curl your tongue back in retroflex. Nda, nda. Shikhandi. Finally, the H with a dot under it is a mini exhale. Nama. Rum Shikhandine Nama. I was not able to find any information about Shikhandine, other than they're probably described as having the color of collyrium black. That name does appear in the Mahabharata, however, the longest story ever told of 100,000 verses, of which the Bhagavad Gita is only an 800 verse subset. In that story, Shikhandi actually is transgender. It's a very LGBTQ friendly story. And something I love about many Hindu stories is they often play with the genders. And so the story of Shikhandi, I don't know much about, but I just glanced upon it while researching this name, is that I believe they were born biologically female, but transitioned to female later, or male in life. And it's a story said to have taken place 5,000 years ago. And I love that. Anyway, it's kind of a tangent because I don't think that's the same Shikhandi as the central deity of this mantra. I think the person in the story was named after Shikhandi, but perhaps their story mirrors Shikhandi's. And if anyone has more information about Shikhandi, please feel free to share. Anyway, let us begin our mantra japa. Rum Shikhandine Namah. 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 Rum Shikhandine Rum Shikhandi Namah. 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 Om 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 Rum Shikhandi Namah. Salutations to Shikhandi. May all fevers be destroyed and health prevail. Thank you for meditating. That concludes our Sangha for today, so thank you for participating. Thank you, dear Banjo, for the heart that you sent. Rama Rama. Dear Hexed Pixie, thank you for your rose. Om Bhairava Rudraya Maha Rudraya Kala Rudraya Kalpanta Rudraya Vyura Rudraya Rudra Rudraya Ghora Rudraya Aghora Rudraya Mortanda Rudraya Anda Rudraya Brahmanda Rudraya Chanda Rudraya Prachanda Rudraya Tanda Rudraya Shura Rudraya Vira Rudraya Bhava Rudraya Bhima Rudraya Atala Rudraya Vitala Rudraya Sutala Rudraya Mahatala Rudraya Rasatala Rudraya Talatala Rudraya Patala Kala Rudraya Namo Namaha. MJ, you share, wow, that went right through you, like a strong wind of sweet floral scents. That's exactly what I was smelling too. I was having flashbacks of my time at Butchart Gardens today. Such strong smells. Zigga zigga. Thank you, dear Starlight Wow, for your rose and pair of
Tiny tinies. Oh, mommy, put me home.
Dear MJ, thank you for your flowers still. Om Namah Karling Mambita Me Shring Nadita Me Haring Devida Me Am Sarasvatyai Swaha. Aw, that makes me very happy to hear, dear Taylor. Spirituality is the very foundation of life. Is this my permanent hours for the live ask? And no, I think it'll adapt. I think I might even experiment with 2 live streams a day, where we split it up into maybe a morning session and then an evening session, and each session might have different parts to it. I don't know, it's just an idea that's been crossing my mind for a while, and maybe I'll experiment with it. I feel like that might be appropriate, at least having multiple hours for people in different time zones. Yeah. But I'm still figuring out my own routine, my own sleeping hours in this time zone, so I'll try to find a way around that. You love that idea, dear Starlight? Wow. Yeah. Maybe just, each part shorter than a full live stream, but all together it would add up to the same amount of time, I think. That sounds so cool. Yeah. You could watch my morning ones at night, that's true. Yeah. I could say good night and you could say good eye mate. Or vice versa. Well, thank you all for being here. Thank you to my lovely moderators for helping keep the peace. And if there's anything I can do to make this space more inclusive to anyone or everyone, anyone and everyone, please let me know. May I be a more humble host next time, and may you hold me accountable to that. May this live stream be an offering to the divinity within you. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Mritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to the light, from death to deathlessness. Om. May there be peace in us, may there be peace in our environment, and may there be peace in the forces that act on us. May you all have a wonderful rest of your present moment. Namaste.